Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters challenge. We have two Canadians. We got a lot of Canadian whiskeys coming up. It's going to take at least a month. I have so many. Many are really good, some are okay, and a few are not too pleasant, in my opinion. But anyway, I got past the unpleasant ones as I see it. And some of the brands I don't like, other people just love them. They love them. And that's how it works with these drinks. Some people agree, and then with other people, they don't agree. Here is Lord Calvert, Canadian. This is the older bottle. The new bottle is back to the old bottle. In other words, when they first came out with this in 1964 for the U.S. market, I've got proof that it's been on the market longer than that. But anyway, it had a square embossed bottle, fancy. When Beam Company took it over in the 90s, they went to the simple bottle, the Julius Kessler type bottle. You ever seen Kessler? It's in this type bottle. And they did nothing to promote it. Luxco bought it 5 years ago, and they revamped it, brought it back to its more elegant bottle. And I guess they're trying to revitalize it, maybe do a little bit of promotion with the limited resources they have. A company like Luxco, they spend most of their money and resources on promoting things like Everclear, or even more so Ezra Brooks. They're kind of like their flagship product, Ezra Brooks. But anyway, there it is, Lord Calvert from the Beam Suntory days. I think this bottle is probably, what did I find it? 2010. I bought this in Marrero, Louisiana, on U.S. Highway 90, business route, westbound, at Budget Saver, Labourie's Budget Saver. They got some interesting things in Budget Saver. So the Lord Calvert has some typical Canadian features: the maple leaf, the crown for the royal government of Canada. Remember, Canada's a kingdom. The United States is a republic. We have a president. They have a queen. Okay, but anyway, the Northern Lights has the same thing. It's got the crown, the maple leaf. It's got a northern light. It's got a leaf that lights up as the light hits it. You see? The Northern Lights, look. It's got a bottle with diamonds around the top, elongated diamonds. Kind of neat. The plastic bottle is the same bottle design as Inverhouse, but the Inverhouse is green, and the plastic bottle for this one is brown. And they had that at Walmart, $15.99. Now this one cost me $9.99 at Winn-Dixie. They got rid of this brand at Winn-Dixie. At least this one here. Now Walmart picked it up, and then like I said, Budget Saver. I've never seen Lord Calvert at any other store in Louisiana, and this was a single bottle covered with dust alone by itself on the shelf. And I said, boy, if I don't buy that, I'll never see it again. I bought it, and I never saw it again in Louisiana. I saw the Lord Calvert Black in LaGrange, Georgia, in the beautiful bottle. Black glass, too. And I didn't want to pay the $11.99. It was on sale. I said, I'll just get it some other time. Yeah, right. That never happened. Think. When you see something and you figure you may not see it again, buy it, because you ain't going to see it again, more than likely. Northern Lights, Lord Calvert. So one day I'll learn that lesson, I guess, because I'd like to try the black. What was I going to say? Oh, this was about $12, 11 or 12. Less than 12, more than 11, somewhere in that range. So the Northern Lights, 1968. It used to be called the Northern Light. Why did they change it? I think because the new name makes more sense. You hear people saying, right, we went to see the Northern Lights. Or they'll say in some of the northern states like Maine, certain times of the year, you can see the Northern Lights. I've never heard anybody say, oh, we stood out in the yard and looked at the northern light. But that could be what they say. I've never seen those anyway. In Louisiana, we can't see that. We could see the fire from the Shell oil refinery, though. When they're flaring it off, sometimes we could see that from 20 miles away. But that's man-made. All right. Gold and gold. The appearance is the same. The age is probably the same. My nose is itching. They have no age statement. So how old are they? More than likely 3 years. That's the minimum. Could be longer. Where? What exact distillery are they produced at in Canada? These companies do not like to reveal that generally. They won't say. Because it could be that sometimes it's here and sometimes it's there. You know what I mean? Like they got a recipe and they just got it going from different places. That could be why they don't want us. They're reluctant to tell you. But I really don't know why. I'm just guessing. If you saw the news yesterday, Miller Coors, Molson Coors said they're going to shut down their Irwindale, California brewery that was opened in 1980. They said they don't need it. Remember, they shut down their North Carolina brewery a couple of years ago. Said they didn't. So a lot of times those distilleries breweries were sitting idle. But they signed an agreement with Pabst the same day yesterday that Pabst has the first option to buy it. So if Pabst can come up with the money, which I don't know if they can, because I think they said they wanted to sell the brewery for $150 million. But if Pabst could come up with the money, they can buy it and have their own brewery again instead of paying somebody to make their stuff. Their headquarters is in LA anyway. And if they don't come up with the money by the end of the year when because they plan to close it in around September. If they don't come up with the money, then they'll offer it to anybody, assuming anybody wants to buy it. If not, it just shut down. Maybe Heineken, not Heineken. Maybe Guinness would buy it, Diageo, because they already have a small brewery in Baltimore County, Maryland. So maybe they would buy it and have a real big brewing presence in America. I don't know. I don't even care. You know what I'm saying? Aside from that, it's in the news. I don't fret over those things. Some people really fret, like they get, like, why did they sell out? I'll never drink their beer again. I'll never drink it again. I feel so betrayed, Dogfish Head. But most people that buy products, they don't care who owns it. They just care if it tastes good. It's like chicken of the sea. You know, they don't care if the brewery or the distillery has good ownership. They just care if it tastes good. This smells like, well, I don't need to close my eyes anymore. I've mixed them up so much. Joseph, good morning, sir. Lord Calvert is a Baltimore bowling alley. I believe it, because the Calvert family, the first Lord of Baltimore, were the people that founded Maryland. The Guinness Brewery in Baltimore contract brews anyways. Oh, yeah? Huh. Sounds about right. That's the nature of the game. Contract brewing, buyouts. I don't know why people have trouble getting a grip of that, coming to grips with that. But I think more and more people in the craft beer world are coming to grips with it. You know, they're not as like hysterical as they were 5-6 years ago. Like every time they had a buyout, some of them would have a nervous breakdown and be, you know, emoting on Facebook. I'll never drink this stuff again. How dare the man sell his brewery for $300 million and pocket the cash and go live a luxurious life? You know, how dare he do that? He should struggle and take the risk of going out of business and losing it all for me. This smells like Lord Calvert. And what I mean by that, it has a little bit of the honeycomb cereal. I said that before, like honeycomb, what is that? Like oat based? It's like oat flour, yeah, and they press it together, and then it's got that honey sort of taste. Of course, this is not made with oats, but it's grain, so it has that kind of relative approximate a relative similarity or whatever that, however you say that. Sweet corn, grain, standard Canadian whiskey. There's some rye spice in the back or the side of this smell, not the back, the side. I don't know why somebody would dislike it. Maybe they don't like whiskey. You say, yeah, you're stupid. They drink real whiskey. Bourbon, not that effeminate, limp-wristed Canadian stuff. Whatever. Oh, wow. Anybody want some wine? You say wine? Yeah, this stuff smells like wine. It's fine, but look, listen. Look through any window, yeah. What do you see? It smells like sherry wine. You say, what kind of sherry, man? What kind of sherry, man? Kind of sherry, man. It smells like dry sherry. Truth. Dry sherry. It does. Yeah. Do they use sherry in the blend? They're certainly allowed to. Smells like it. You know what it kind of smells like, though? Krabari. If you ever happen to find some Krabari, that's not sherry, is it? That's what? It's mainly a wine people use for cooking purposes. They buy the big box, 5-liter box of it. A lot of restaurants use it. You can drink it. It tastes pretty good. Krabari. This smells kind of like Krabari. And Krabari is such a big commodity wine. Like big companies buy it, Like that's what it's not like people sitting on the back porch sniffing it. Oh, it's so wonderful. Look at the trellis. How beautiful they are. No, it's these cooking, these restaurants, they buy it. Use it. Bulk wine. Yeah, bulk wine. Well, why wouldn't a distillery buy Krabari bulk wine? Guess what? They probably would. That's what the smell is. Dang it. Okay. And a lot of grains, multigrain. See, this is a multigrain drink. And don't they say you should eat multigrains? Corn, barley, rye, maybe wheat, and Krabari. I'm saying, I don't know if it's that, but wine, you get your juice. It could have rum in there. You get your sugar. That's one of the food group sugars. Molasses. Get your bourbon. It's also a multigrain drink. Get your brandy. Oh, yeah. I feel healthier just smelling it. Now, the taste. Picking up, I was going to say honey, but you know what? That's not what the taste is. I say honeycomb, but it's like nectar from a honeysuckle. We get honeysuckles all around here during the summer. I hardly ever pick them and suck the nectar because you only get like one drop. So you got to get a whole shot glass full, you'd have to pick 1,000 of them. But it tastes like that with some rye spice. It kind of like got that little rye kick to it. They didn't go berserk like the Bellows Club whiskey. If you ever want to drink something that is so harshly rye'd up, You can drink it, you're going to get riled up. But that was back in the Beam days when they made Bellows Club whiskey. I don't even know if Luxco makes it. They don't have it listed on their website, but that doesn't mean much because their website is so minimalistic. Calvert, Lord Calvert is an all right product. It's $12 or less, and that's about where it belongs. It's about where it belongs, where it belongs. It's little, and I can't go by the current. This is the Beam. Did Luxco improve it after they bought it? This I do not know. I doubt it. They probably just kept the same formula, but it's okay. A little rough around the edges, not totally refined, not exactly super smooth or even smooth, but it's all right. It's probably a mixer, huh? Yeah, you're right. And like they say on their website, designed to be passed around, not to pass judgment. Meaning what? You pass around at a barbecue or a cookout and you drink it, sip on it, and eat hot dogs and roast marshmallows. It's not designed to pass around at like a whiskey tasting with friends and people are trying to show everybody up like, well, I find it has certain problems. And let me tell you, I was talking to Thomas Manford, the head distiller at Origlio Distilling. We were talking once, meaning he probably sent him an email and the guy responded and said, hey, thanks. But, so it's not designed for that. The Northern Lights, it's smoother. It's sweeter. It has more candy characteristics. It has more of that dry, that Crabari. Oh, I know what the Crabari is, a Marsala. Crabari Marsala. And people use it for cooking. It's not cooking wine. Cooking wine has salt in it. No, you could drink Crabari Marsala. They even say on the website, like, you could cook with this and then you can kind of sip on it while you're cooking. And I was thinking, yeah, that's probably what goes on in these kitchens at these restaurants. The chef is cooking with the Crabari Marsala and taking a little bit for the chef, a little bit more for the chef, a little bit more for the chef, more for the chef. And maybe that's why the chef seems to be slurring a little bit. It's like, did you take medicine? No, I'm cooking. There's a good food. You don't eat. You don't eat. You say, whoa, lay off the Crabari, Chef Khalid. Now, Candy Light. Caramel candy, yes. Yeah, if I was looking to buy a cheap Canadian whiskey, and I might be, because it kind of tastes all right, I would be reaching for the Northern Lights. I do believe it's a little more refinement than the Canadian Limited, the LTD, people call it the LTD, the Ford LTD, Crown Victoria Canadian Limited LTD. The Limited is similar to this, but it's not quite as refined. What about Rich and Rare? It's similar to this, but it's a little more ragged. You say, what about Rich and Rare Reserve? Okay, now, all right. So this and the Rich and Rare Reserve sort of line up. A little more refinement, probably aged a little longer. Well, I know I'm pretty sure the Rich and Rare Reserve is probably about 5 years aged. So they kind of swim together. And maybe a Canadian Club, that's a 5-year age whiskey. Those will all be comparable. They're a little more refined. I don't know why some people rip on Canadian Club, talk about how bad it is. I say, well, you sure you're drinking the same thing I'm drinking? Because Canadian Club seems really nice to me. I like it. It's smooth, enjoyable, pleasant, mellow, mild, has nice sweetness, candy-like sweetness, but it's not harsh or overdone. Just copacetic. And this one is the same way. Now, can you pick up the grains, the corn? Yes. The rye, yep. But it's not as, that rye is harsher. Barley bread, barley, the dough, what they call that. Barley, malt whiskey. Yeah, you do pick that up. How many whiskeys did they put in the blend? I don't know. It's probably not 42 like with Cuddy Sark. Oh wait, and that's J&B, right? That uses 42. Cuddy Sark is what, 30? I think they say 31. I don't think it's as complicated as that. It's probably more like, in the teens or something. I really don't know at all. But it seems like they must spend a little time blending this. You can see them in the lab saying, no, 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 need to pull back 92-degree coagulated, whatever terms they use on the Marsala wine. Need to put a smorgon more of the rum or what. Yeah, they make it look like it's that complicated at the labs, and it probably is. If you went to the Anheuser-Busch laboratory, you'd be more impressed with their products. I was there in Houston, and it's a serious thing. It's not like, people, they're an easy target. Anheuser-Busch is an easy target because they're macro. They make a lot of products. They make mass-produced beer, and it's just like you could slag on them, just because they're there. They're out there. And they make a lot of mass appeal beers. But I find all of their beers are like super consistent and super high quality. Like you're never going to hear them say, well, we had a bad batch. It's like, no, you don't hear about that. Now with their Goose Island that they bought, not long after they bought Goose Island, they had a bad batch. They were all infected, the 2015s. Most of them, well, some of them were affected. All the ones I got, the one I got, they sent me a t-shirt in a refund, not the tax. And people blame Bush for that, Anheuser-Busch InBev, but it really, you see that they can't win, because if they let the company continue to run their operations independently and something goes wrong, then they'll take the blame, even though they weren't running the operations. And apparently when they took over Goose Island, they said, look, you keep running it your way. Maybe after the incident, they said, you want to keep running it your way? This better never happen again, because you just know somebody's getting clipped after something like this. And I think with companies like Sazerac and Luxco, you can rely on a lot of reliability. You know what I'm saying? Consistency. Like it just continues to replicate. It's always good. Now, like the Bocador from Charles Jacques Worldwide Distillers in Philadelphia. I mean, their stuff's not great. That's so now they don't specialize in making world-class beverages. They make their Pennsylvania Dutch eggnog through their whatever their division is called, Dairyland Farms stuff. They make the Bocador rum and all of these blended whiskeys, and it's inexpensive. They kind of like target the sub-premium area, but they do consistent work. You know what I mean? Like it's just reliable. And that's what you can get with these. The Northern Lights is reliable. And I say, and it's close, because this Calvert, Lord Calvert, has a lot of interesting characteristics. I like that sweet underbody. It seems more and more honey. But I'm not, you see, I keep backing off from that honey statement, huh? It's almost like it has a maple syrup undertaste. Maple syrup. Or maybe a blended syrup like Log Cabin or Aunt Jemima. I don't know if there is like a maple syrup. When we went to Funk's Grove in Illinois, off of the Interstate 55 along the old US Highway 66, Route 66. It's a family-owned maple grove. They have maple trees and they make maple syrup. They spell it S-I-R-U-P. They said they don't use a Y because I think they said Y means it's cooked, and their syrup is raw. They don't cook it or filter it. It's just tap the tree, they put it in a bottle, and if you don't like the sediment, don't buy it. But I thought it was dynamite. And I'd like to go back. And this kind of has that characteristic. So interesting. So if you get Lord Calvert Canadian or the Northern Lights, are you going to get like the most premier products? No. But are you going to get two interesting products that you could spend a lot of time thinking on them while you're drinking on them? I would say certainly. There's no doubt about it. You can drink through these. You know what I'm saying? You experience them. You don't just sip it and say, "Oh yeah, baby." No, you're thinking on them while you're drinking on them. And these are perfect for that. I wouldn't sell the Northern Lights short at all. Don't let anybody influence you not to buy it. I would strongly suggest buying it. My friend David was thrown off by the flavorings because he's used to straight bourbon and all of that. So that's understandable. And single malt scotch. So if you're coming from that perspective, the flavorings could really throw you for a loop. And he said, "Oh, it tastes like licorice," and he dumped. That was the Canadian Limited. But I thought that he was being a little hasty. So anyway, I'm going to vote for the Northern Lights. I'm going to say Northern Lights. The Northern Lights wins again. You notice it keeps winning. Now, I mean, it didn't beat Canadian Club 12 year, the small batch. I mean, you wouldn't expect that. You're not going to expect a $10 whiskey to beat a $25 whiskey. It's just not going to happen. It could, but it generally won't. But it really battles well with the run-of-the-mill stuff. It's really a nice product. And I'm going to keep bragging on it, I think. I'm going to make more videos, taste challenges, and I'm going to keep saying the same thing. You'll probably get sick of hearing it. But I'm so pleased. Now, what's coming up next? That's a good question. I know I got to get into the Sazerac brands. Dawn. Where's the Dawn? I thought it would start getting lighter earlier now. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah. Windsor Canadian. Another, still a Beam Suntory product, but I don't know for how long because they don't seem to do anything to promote it. They used to have it on their website. They don't even show it on the website anymore. So I would say this is a ripe candidate for a buyout. I could see Beam Suntory selling this off to Sazerac. I think Sazerac would buy it in a hot minute. You know what I'm saying? In a hot second. Sazerac would say, we got that. We got that. They bought 36 brands from other companies in 2018. So this is going to be a good challenge with the Northern Lights. Is it going to win? Oh, that's a lot of wood on that nose. I don't think it'll win, but it'll compete. It'll compete. Another good value. Paid $10.99 for that at Walmart. Oh, at Winn-Dixie. Okay, that's it. And then we'll get into the Sazerac brands. That's going to keep us quite busy. Sazerac brands. I'll start with the Albertsons Canadian. I don't think that's made anymore, but it could be. But the Albertsons, and then we'll go into the Canadian Hunter, a really famous one. Then Seagram's VO, another really famous one. VO Gold, not that famous, but really good. A little bit expensive. Then all of them, the Limited, the Rich and Rare, the Rich and Rare Reserve. And then I'll exhaust all of that. And then we'll pivot over to Scotch. And I have a good, well, I've heard good things on whether it's good. I have the John Barr Scotch. They've been making it since, I believe, the 1800s. And there's also a John Barr, like, well, they have higher age. Mine's just the basic John Barr, but they say it's really good. So that'll be interesting. All right. So a lot of excitement, and thanks for watching this video production. The winner, again, it's been performing far above its price point, the Northern Lights. I would say there's almost no chance of disappointment if you buy that. And I do not work for Sazerac yet. No, I don't work for them.